Is Paul? Yes. When you're looking through those powers of attorney, yeah. I just wanted to know what happens to your personal assets when it's found that you decided to make a clone of a male instead of a female. Yes. With the intention of causing some sort of civil uprising. Yeah. Now, quite often when you get arrested for this insurrection against the laws of the United States, yes, there's what's known as peace. Oh, a state of public tranquility, freedom from civil disturbance or hostility. Now, this breach of the peace, yes. You actually can get arrested for that. You can't breach the peace. As much as you dislike these videos, I do it this way so that I'm not yelling at you. Now, let's say the military gets called out because you refuse to enforce the actual laws and you decide to do one of these push comes to shove and you bring out your clones with their guns. Pooch. They themselves are obligated to keep the peace of the nation. As sense of the term comprehends the whole of criminal law. Against the peace, all crimes are laid to be committed. Whoever, therefore, had authority to take cognizance of crime was, from the nature of his office, considered as a conservator of the peace. Now, I know. Well, the absence of war, fighting, or other hostilities, the termination or absence of armed conflict between countries. See peace treaty under treaty. Now, the use of the actual military right to enforce the real laws of each state and the United States. If any person decided that they were going to violate the peace, the breach of the peace, yes, I would say that they could automatically, yes, arrest the person and put them in prison and kill all their clones, all their dogfish, and anything and everything that looks like a person. Now, I know that peacekeeping troops, a group of soldiers who are sent to a place, usually a foreign country, to stop or prevent two opposing groups from fighting each other. That would be the United Nations. Yes. Then there's the Peace Corps. Pooh. Now, I just wanted to look at this breach of the peace because there's something about domestic tranquility. And let's say I found out there was a sheriff or an undersheriff, ooch, that thought, well, no, the dogs are going to stay in control, and we're going to breach of the peace is a criminal offense of creating a public disturbance or engaging in disorderly conduct, ooch, particularly by making an unnecessary or distracting noise. Now, breach of statutory duty, oh, the violation of obligation imposed legislatively, especially one for the protection or benefit of a particular class of persons. A failure to carry out or fulfill obligations imposed by legislation. Now, your breach of your statutory duty as police officers and sheriffs, yes, yes, is failing to carry out your obligation to enforce the laws of this state, every state in the United States. Now, this 10 code 333, yes, I find out you decide to bring a gun out or anything that looks like a human being to fight against the militia, you'll find that there are lawsuits I haven't thought of yet. It sounds really mean, doesn't it? There are lawsuits that I have not thought of yet. Oh. It's one thing to have a dog that looks like a sheriff or a police officer. Another thing for that dog decided to the breach the peace of the nation, ooch, thereby breaching their statutory duty, ooch, and that's breaching of the loyalty of the allegiance to the United States of America, and that would be the breach of the actual oath of office of all of those in law enforcement, and that would be treason. Okay, now we looked at the actual definition. In fact, I have a screen print of it. Did you want to violate your sworn oath of office, Sheriff? Because if your dog decides to be a total fucking dickwad, pooch, I'll make sure that you never get out of military prison. So, did the dogs decide that they were upset because no one wanted to suck their dick? You know, I think a lot of women were surprised that you made dog lookalikes of their spouses or their lovers. Yes. And this whole concept of, well, I need my dick sucked because I have to come to find out. Ooch. I would think that your dog would automatically be dead, and you'd spend a few decades in military prison. Now, you have a duty to care. Oh, negligence that results in a foreseeable injury that would not have occurred but for some negligent person's action. I had mentioned the duty of care of those in law enforcement. Yes, that when you arrest me for crimes I did not commit, for violating a fraudulent court order, because of the forgery of the person elected to office, that happens to be in violation of the RCWs and federal statutes, yes, and you just don't care because in your mind, as long as you get your fucking dick sucked, your fucking dog is dead. Now, who is it that wants? Well, there's a breach of duty, Sheriff. Ooch, violation of a legal or moral obligation, the failure to act as the law obligates. The law obligates all requirements of the law before issuing court orders. It says it's a requirement of law that the respondent knows where and when. Now, it's actual breach of duty, breach of care, breach of the loyalty for having allegiance to your dog instead of the United States, breach of statutory duty, and a breach of the peace. Now, when you start talking breaching, okay, I mean, you start talking breaching right now.